John Anik has recently stated that Belal vs Shavkat is in the works for October. This is a very exciting contest, and it's a welcome surprise to be honest. The welterweight division is stacked with talent, ranging from highly skilled newer contenders like Buckley, Ian Gary, Sean Brady, Shavkat, and also veterans hanging around the top, Usman, Leon Edwards, and of course Belal. However, an issue that was present in the division up until very recently was that the frequency of these fights, them mixing it up, was quite low. When Usman was champ, he fought 2 to 3 times a year, and looking back, I can appreciate how many times he defended and put his belt on the line. More recently, it's felt like everyone at 170 only fights once a year, except for Ian Gary and Joaquin Buckley, but that's why Belal vs Shavkat is welcomed by me. This is a fairly quick turnaround for Belal, especially after the absolute war he had with Jack Della Maddalena a few weeks ago. Hopefully more fighters at welterweight continue with this kind of turnaround. The weight class has so many talented guys in it that they should all be fighting each other on the regular. It's starting now already, but in the next couple of years especially, I think the 170 strap will be a hot potato, with it changing hands way more often. This sounds awesome, especially after having a dominant champ in Usman, but to fully realize the division's potential, they need to be booked more regularly. Of course, we want fighters to return to the octagon when they're good, proper and healthy. In the case of Shavkat, for instance, he had a bad injury which sat him out for a good 10 months it appears like now. It's more than understandable why he couldn't have been fighting, but barring major injuries, I'd love for the welterweight division to increase the level of activity. More fights, more fights. Regardless, Belal vs Shavkat. Before we talk about the bout itself, please make sure to subscribe for more combat sports coverage. Consistent quality discussions about MMA and boxing. I'd love for you to be a part of it with me. So Belal and Shavkat are both returning to the cage seeking to prove different things. For Shavkat, he wants to prove that he can beat a former champion even after suffering a terrible injury and enduring a 10-month layoff. As for Belal, well, he got beat by JDM, so he's obviously wanting to come back and prove that he is still championship caliber and to gun straight for another title shot. As for who wins a Shavkat vs Belal fight, the sensible prediction, in my opinion, would be Shavkat, even after the injury and time out the ring. Against JDM, Belal looked a bit slower compared to how he looked in the Leon Edwards fight. Not terrible by any stretch, he had a lot of heart, but slower, noticeably. Of course, Belal's performance against Leon was a career best, so it may be a little unfair to compare, but even when examining the JDM performance on its own, he seemed kind of unwilling to apply that full force, forward pressure, and really go after JDM. He had some success, obviously, as the rounds went by, and it's easier said than done to do anything to Jack. Jack came in with a stellar game plan. His boxing and takedown defense was on fire that night. But at the same time, it's safe to say that it wasn't Belal's best night. Perhaps at 36 years old, he's finally slowing down a bit, who knows? We'd have to watch another fight to really determine that. But there's a ton of question marks going into this fight for both fighters, and that's what makes the matchup so interesting. I said earlier that Shavkat winning perhaps is the more sensible prediction, but at the same time I'm wondering how Shavkat will handle the ring rust. How does he handle Belal's eventual takedowns? Can he just outman him when they get into the clinch? Will he be able to get Belal off him as the rounds go by? Shavkat got the better of Ian Gary when they fought, but Ian also fights at a much slower tempo and throws less volume than Belal, as good of a fighter as he is. As much as Belal showed a ton of heart in that JDM fight, he did look off his game, just a bit, and slower, which Shavkat may capitalize on. Either way, this is such an important fight for the welterweight division and complements the eventual JDM vs Islam bout nicely. What do you think about Shavkat vs Belal? If it happens, right as I finish writing this script, I see a conflicting report from Shavkat's manager saying that Belal vs Shavkat is not in the works. We'll see, who knows. It would still be a really fun and major fight for the division. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you down the road.